Jesus was undocumented.
Oh, God.
How's that for a start, Andrew? Jesus was undocumented.
Sold, yeah.
Let me just say that again and let that sink in for just a moment. The very person we're celebrating today, the very one in whom we worship, was undocumented.
How do we know he was Aramaean?
Well, no, it's really funny because he was kind of so documented that there was a very famous king who, wanted to kill him and send his soldiers in to kill basically every firstborn son of a certain age group, not a firstborn son, but every child of a certain age group till he got to him. Like, does he remember that part?
Moving on.
Jesus was a refugee. Jesus knew what it was to flee in fear and to live as a stranger in a strange land. Jesus was
That's
that
like
person.
black affectation.
If Jesus came today in flesh and blood, would we even let him in?
It's such a turn up. It's someone who was like, when I was 16, I went to a Pentecostal church and it sort of turned me off Christianity for about 5 years. But this was the type of shit. You'd go to a church like this and I would just roll my eyes. Like, it's such a performance. It's the fakest shit ever. And Jesus said, it's like
somebody's been watching the Mighty Gemstones.
Yeah, right.
Totally.
That's
Totally.
exactly
And
it.
the thing is like, and who are you pandering to? You're pandering to a social expectation of what a preacher man is supposed to sound like in order to sound authoritarian or authoritative, right? The truth is, though, is you just sound cringe. Really, really good preachers in Protestant churches, they don't sound like this at all. They talk like normal people. And the very, very skilled priests of Catholic Church and of the Orthodox Church, they would die of cringe before they would sound like that.
It's really pathetic, and I don't understand what the message. Well, I do. Like you have to understand that the reason that they go into churches like this is because almost every institution's dominated by this sort of global establishment left ideology. So the last bastions where you see things like Christianity or things like the military, that's where they're going into. With the military, they did it with the pandemic. We'll just kick everyone else out that doesn't want vaccinated. You remember one of the first things they did was they were like, Lloyd Austin happened to be a black man. I only bring it up for this, was like, oh, we're going to look at everyone that enters that's white to see if they're connected to a white supremacist group. And so you took all these people that like are conservative, sort of young men that want to join the military. And it's like, yeah, let's reshape that. It's exactly what they're doing with Christianity. They're trying to reshape it because they realize the power that sort of having a God amongst their God of government is. That's why one of the first things they did during the
have
pandemic.
NGOs. I've covered this many times on the stream that one of the biggest outreach programs of progressive NGOs is the allocation of budget that they have to community churches. And the way that they get in is they say, look, we're going to pay for retraining your staff and the most latest cutting edge psychological training that's going on right now. And many of these ministers have degrees. You'll never guess what the degrees are in. Psychology, right? And so, yeah, so when the latest cutting edge psychological, training comes to bear and it's paid for by an NGO, they go and they take it. And what it is it's a form of infiltration. And it's been like that for going on since the early 90s. But even in the 80s, this was beginning. But now it's kind of reaching its all-time high of just like, how the fuck is this even happening? And who's going to these places? Well, you find out pretty quickly that after a while, many of the people who are in the congregation are going there purposely in order to jab in the eye Christians, not because they care about any of the messaging. They don't give a shit.
Well, and also, Andrew, a debate you did recently, I learned that actually Jesus would be against any nationalism. And, the founding fathers wanted, the country to be Muslim and all that shit.
Yeah.
It's a matter of history.
Yeah. What do I know? What do I know?
That's why God mixed
somebody else's subjective interpretation of the Bible. That's what matters.
Yeah.
All right,
Who doesn't know the difference between subjective and objective, by the way? But yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
Our borders. Would we let him into our synagogues and sanctuaries? Or would he be met with a wall, a cage, or flight out of the country to El Salvador?
I always love how these guys also focus on the ideas of presentism. right? Jesus Christ and his actions were also they were focused on the times that he was in, and the way that he relayed information to people was based on the people of the times. This whole idea that things were not segregated by nation and people groups is just absurd. It's talked about in the New Testament all the time. One of his very famous parables was discussing this. This was the parable. He's discussing, what is it? What is? Why am I having a brain fart here? The parable of
See, they got
why
you.
can't I think? Yeah, why can't I think of it? I'm sorry, the Good Samaritan. I don't know why that was skipping my mind, but yeah, the parable of the Good Samaritan. The entire idea is that Samaritans were a separate people group, and the entire idea there was like, who is my brother is going to be the person who actually stops and helps me, right? That's the whole point. So. And this is when you're diving in on this, these people always forget that at the time, this also was a place of people groups, and they were very well defined out in the Bible. Paul's ministry was to different people groups, right? Different people groups. Same thing with the various ministries of the apostles. They were going out to various people groups. So
Yeah,
it's
and
just fucking. It's just.
This is an appealing message, though, to the people that aren't taking Christianity seriously, which I'll admit I'd been one of, because it goes back to the hippie Jesus myth. Like, oh, and the people that don't really believe in Christianity are the first to point this out. You can't challenge us on anything because Jesus was this hippie pacifist that would just let everything go and love everyone. Now, they don't believe in it, right? They're bastardizing it on purpose, but they'll weaponize what they don't believe and hold you to a standard that they think you believe. That's the mantra of these people on the left constantly. They never hold themselves to the standard that they're suggesting you be held to. And so I think it's why it's so important that people understand that Christianity is not just as simple as like, oh, it's just real simple. Jesus was a hippie that never got upset and everyone could bygones be bygones with everything. That's not what's going on. And that's a sort of ideology that'll lead to your country being overthrown and your leads to our schools being indoctrinated with trans ideology. That's the end game of that.
True.
There we go.
Next.
Oh, we know this one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is it just me? Like this, his reaction is so. Why is he so scared? Like, why is he so startled? He gives his boy a hug. Ooh, ooh.
A wild Karen.
He's reacting like a woman seeing a mouse. I'm surprised he didn't jump up on the chair.
Well, he just looks like he's startled to me. Like, what the is this woman touching me for?
Whoever gets it first.
Get the out of here.
And there's
Oh my God. What a.
So we brought you a cool little goodie bag.
That was really good of them. That was actually really good of them that they did that.
they took him. Yeah.
You okay? Happy birthday.
It's his birthday too.
It's his birthday,
Oh
dude.
shit! I did not know it was his birthday.
Oh man.
See, they
So he
brought
gets
him.
to go backstage too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was a
I guess
viral
this is
story.
what happens when you're stupid.
Yeah. You don't follow
Yeah.
the sports ball, but this was viral. And a lot of people are like pointing out that this is sort of indicative of where feminism's led us. First off, like this woman just feels totally empowered. This is a woman who's like got weaponized empathy, except in her life. Then she'll go take the ball, which rightfully was this guy's. I don't know if you guys follow baseball, but once the ball hits the deck, it's a scramble. Whoever gets the ball gets the ball. You don't get to claim it because it hit closer to your seat than the guy's. So the guy gets it, gives it to a kid. This Karen goes over and literally takes a ball from a kid. And now the whole world hates her. And I do think that the guy's reaction's a little cringe there at the beginning. And maybe he shouldn't have given the ball up to her. But that's what it's like so often. You deal with these lefties and you're just like, I just want to be left alone. And the pendulum's swinging more and more. That's like, yeah, you can't have that mindset. Increasingly,
Well,
you
the
have to be
thing
like,
is like, well, what's the more responsible thing though? So he has his kid there with him at the ballpark, right? He wants to avoid a scene, any sort of thing which could be physical, cause problems, perhaps get him tossed out of the park. He gets separated from his son if they have a big conflict. What's the easier thing there to do?
Mhm.
All right, just take it. Just take it and get the away from me, right? Perhaps the most responsible thing he could have done.
it may be. I'll say this though. I think they just made an anti-feminist for life in that kid, right? Because
Hell
when he
yeah.
goes to school and they start talking about like all this tripe about toxic masculinity, he's gonna remember grandma that took that ball from him, you know.
Yep.
So keep going. As always, they overplay their hand, like you were saying on Piers the other day, right? Like when it comes to the trans agenda, they always overplay their hand. And luckily, I think the slowly but surely the pendulum's swinging back the other way. That we're just getting fed up. This was a probably the second biggest story in the country this weekend. Just people outraged over this woman. And of course you have the, the right wingers that are like, now let's not go too far. We don't want to out her name or anything like that. These are the same people. If it was the opposite way, if that guy would have taken a ball from a lady, that dude would be fired right now. He'd be homeless, living on the street, begging for forgiveness. But this lady, it's
Oh
going to be
yeah,
like,
they would have
"Don't
taken
be harsh."
they would have taken everything he had, doxed his name 15 times over.
Oh yeah.
They would have fired his brother, his cousin, his parent. They don't give a shit.
Yep.
They don't care.
They don't want to be held to the standard that they sought to you. That's always their mantra.
Where are you from?
Louisiana, Texas area.
How long?
You want to let people know what this is, Rob? Just give them a little more.
So this is, I believe he's in LA, but he's somewhere in California. And he's explaining as a homeless man why he specifically came to California, because you just get free shit. How easy it is. And like, you could tell that the questioner's like shocked as this guy's just totally transparent, because he's like, well, surely it's hard to get like a free phone and all this money. And the dude's like, no, it's the easiest thing in the world. They basically pay us to be homeless. So
How long you been in San Francisco?
Since June, if you're gonna be homeless, it's pretty easy here. I mean, if we're gonna be realistic, they pay you to be homeless here.
When you said that San Francisco pays people to be homeless, what did you mean by that? You mean that literally?
Yeah, I mean, I get $620 a month, dude.
From
Yeah,
general assistance?
Yeah.
That's not a lot of money, but that's like a lot of money to give every homeless person.
Well, the thing is this is the idea of golden handcuffs. So the basic idea here is, and I'm sure many people in the chat have seen this before, that there are some people who they have a stipend of some kind. Let's say it's $500, $1,000 a month, $1,200, whatever it is. And they will actually, rather than improve their situation because it'll take more work, will fault in not improving their own situation in order to keep that stipend of whatever kind coming in. I mean, so even though they could be making $3,000-$4,000 a month doing this other thing that has been offered to them and it's there, oh, well, but that'll cancel out the $600 a month that I get. And so they'll actually not do that, right? It creates a culture of dependency. And that's really unfortunate. And again, this isn't the same thing as saying, okay, a person needs a helping hand up. They had some unfortunate things happen, this type of thing. The state came in and gave them some assistance on the taxpayer dollar. Even that's more understandable than this. This is just a culture of dependency. The idea here being that these people always have some kind of minimum base. What is actually their incentive to improve? Right? What if it's now I make $800? Would you work in order to make $800 if you would lose $600 if you not working? I think most people would say no, right? So
that's exactly right.
This is the problem.
Yeah, and they've done this. Like, remember Gavin Newsom said 10 years ago when he got there that he was going to solve homelessness. It's exploded under his watch. Even if you have a big empathetic heart, they've done programs where like they took a bunch of homeless people in these cities and they gave them apartments. Want to know what happened? Not only were they homeless by the end of like 6 months, but a huge portion of them overdosed. Right? Because it turns out that most of these homeless people have significant problems. And so what happens is if you give them all this disposable money, you know what they're using it for? The same problems that led to them being homeless in the first place, like substance abuse. So all they did was create these apartments for these people, brand new, which they tore apart and then used the money and stuff that they saved by being there to buy more drugs. And then it caused their life to be even worse off 6 months down. So you have to be honest about these problems. And this is always the appeal of the left. Just throw more money at the problem. School not performing well, throw more money. Homeless people, throw more money. And it's exacerbating the problem. For exactly the reason you said, Andrew, what incentive is there for these people to get better in life? And you can see that I've seen this in my own personal life. I knew a woman that was getting food stamps. She's very excited to go from 30 hours a week to 40 hours a week working at this gas station. I see her 2 weeks later say, how do you like it? Oh, I quit. Why? Well, because they were lowering my food stamps to work that extra 10 hours. So I'm not doing that. I'll just sit at home.
Well, and it's so bad. It's so bad now that it's really funny what the left points out that corporations aren't paying a living wage. And yet the incentive comes from the left for companies like McDonald's and Walmart to pay a low wage, knowing that the local municipality and state that they're in is going to subsidize the workers that they have. So if Walmart said, okay, we'll pay you $15 an hour, they'd actually get less workers because they couldn't go on the government cheddar on top of that. So the whole thing is just a massive fuck up from top to bottom. And I don't see an end in sight anytime soon, Rob.
No, me neither. And like, look, you have to give personal agency. So I blame this particular homeless person, but I understand it. Like I've spent, and I know the same's true of you, Andrew. Now we have cushy jobs sitting on chairs, just yelling at people online. But previous to this, I know both of us worked our ass off. And I remember nights where it's like, I always said, I'm doing things the right way, nose to the grindstone and all. But then I saw these people I grew up with that were collecting disability checks or welfare or something. They're doing what they want. I mean, granted, they're not advancing in life, but I'm working my finger to the bone. And I think more and more what you see in society is more and more people say, you know what, I give up. I'll take that free money too. I'm going to stop trying to do things the right way. I'm tired of, working my finger to the bone to barely get ahead. So yeah, it's a real problem. And I think more government and more government spending's what the problem is, in addition to cultural problems, which are even more significant.
Yeah.
Totally
agree.
What'd you get? How was that hard to get?
Phone call, bro.
Wow.
Fucking phone call. 200 food stamps and $620 cash a month.
Wow.
Forget about it. Why wouldn't I do it? It's free money, dude. This right now is literally by choice. Literally by choice. Like, why would I want to pay rent? I'm not doing shit. I got a cell phone that I have Amazon Prime and Netflix on. The cops told us this morning, like, oh, it'd be easier if you guys packed up in the morning. We wouldn't have to come out here. And I'm like, well, what are you talking about? He's like, oh, okay. And then went